We begin A Harmony of the Gospels by A.F. Robertson. A Harmony of the Gospels for students of the life of Christ. Even though this is printed in 1950, we have a stark denial of the narration that Palestine does not exist, and an affirmation that the rightful inhabitants are the Palestinians, and those that would be Palestinians if they were not threatened, beaten, tortured, raped to the point where they left. And so we see the dedication, and we open up with our preface here. It is now just 30 years since one day his young assistant suggested to Dr. John A. Broadus that he prepare a harmony of the Gospels that should depart from the old plan of following the feasts as the turning points in the life of Jesus. And in some matters, even the New Testament has up to 8 conflicting opinions. Like, is Jesus a prophet or is he God? You have about 7 different opinions of calling him a deity or saying he's part God or whatever. And then you have the one where he's just a Messiah, just a prophet, which is a huge, huge thing. That should be enough. He acted on the hint and led the way that all modern harmonies have followed. The book has gone through a dozen large editions and has become the standard harmony for many thousands of students all over the world. Broadus was concerned to bring out the inner movements of history towards that long-delayed but foreseen and inevitable collision in which, beyond all other instances, the wrath of man was made to praise God. This he succeeded in doing with marvelous power. A generation has passed by, and it is meet that the work of Broadus should be reviewed in the light of modern synoptic criticism and research into every phase of the life of Christ. So I have made a new analysis that preserves Broadus's real purpose, but with new sections and new notes. The notes at the end of the old volume, written by me for the first edition, have been thoroughly revised and brought up to date. The Old Testament passages referred to in the Gospels are given in the text. The Gospel of Mark appears in the first column, then Matthew, Luke, and John. It is now known that Matthew and Luke made use of Mark for the framework of their Gospels. This change simplifies amazingly the unfolding of the narrative. There is still dispute concerning the historical worth of the Gospel of John, but the Johannine authorship is not disproved. Well, just like other parts of the Bible, Daniel, Book of Revelation, etc., rewrite from other stuff doesn't mean that it wasn't rewritten in the 90s. Just like the Book of Revelation, it doesn't mean that it wasn't rewritten from a text earlier that, I have a copy of, facsimile and translation, but, it still holds. The field, in my opinion, Dr. C.F. Burney's theory of an Aramaic original is already giving a new turn to the Johannine criticism. Well, there was a text about Bacchus. I forget what language it was in. I think it might have been available in Aramaic as well. They didn't call it Hebrew at that time because it was spelled Armya. to transliterate. A harmony of the Gospels cannot meet every phase of modern criticism. The data are given as free from bias as circumstances allow. Well, the bias would be to say that the contradictions can all be true or something, right? So that all students can use the book and interpret the facts according to their various theories. Numerous historical items call for notes of various kinds that throw light on the passage in question. No effort is made to reconcile all the divergent statements of various details in the different Gospels. The differences challenge the student's interest as much as the correspondences and are natural marks of individual work. Well, what does it have Paul saying the Bible? He's looking through a glass, although darkly. So it's not as clear as, like, for example, the Quran. The Quran doesn't have that crookedness, and, people understand it on any level that their linguistic skill or whatever gives them, literal works, other ways work. The notes and appendices at the end of the volume are meant for students who wish help for historical study of the life of Christ. Harmony cannot give all the aid that one needs, but it is the one essential book for the serious study of the life of Jesus. Students in colleges, theological seminaries, Young Men's Christian Association, and Young Women's Christian Association classes, Sunday school teachers and pupils, preachers, all who read the Gospels intelligently must have a modern harmony of the Gospels. One who has never read a harmony will be amazed at the flood of light that flashes from the parallel and progressive records of the life of Jesus Christ. Broadus began teaching the life of Jesus in 1859 and kept it up till his death in 1895. I began like work in 1888 and have kept on without a break till now. 1888, 1859, 1895. I count it one of the crowning mercies of my life that I have led so many successive classes of young ministers and young women, some 5,000 in all, through the study of Christ's life. If only one can pass on to others in all their freshness and power the teachings of Jesus, he cannot fail. Well, where does Jesus say that he is deity and to worship him is always, somebody thinks I'm a son of God for real. Better exercise the guy. No, I'm not the good Lord. There's only one good Lord. So calling Jesus the Lord in that sense is wrong, according to what it has Jesus teach. There was a time when men hung in wonder upon the words of Jesus, listening with awe and rapture as he spoke. The figure of Christ fills the world today as never before. Back to Christ, the world has come. The Christ of faith and of experience, the Jesus of history, the man of Galilee, the hope of today, the Jesus Christ of the four Gospels, in the full blaze of modern critical and historical study. A.T. Robertson, Louisville, Kentucky, and we look at what we're going to run into as content here. So we have quite a deal of programs to go over here. And in reference to that map, The first historical appearance of a self-designated Palestine was in 135, when the genocide of non-Jews was put to an end. And 1948 is the starting up of that again. And there's been a focus on Christians before October 7th, 2023. We had over 100,000 people that were Christians, so the majority of the people. And even if that wasn't the case, oh, we're only killing people from this group. It's like, no, why can't people have their religion? And the group they're at war with is mentioned in the Bible, and it's mentioned in the Talmud. And that group is, its name means the resistance. You know, if you turn to the Bible, we talk about there's the resistance to the well-filling people, to those who fill the fruit trees, to the light-skinned people of the north. And I mean, it's not because they're light-skinned, but there's some non-Semitic people. I mean, 97.5% non-Semitic people that have conquered quite thoroughly. But as far as religion and race, the Holy Land was pretty open, particularly starting in the 7th century of the Common Era, to people of any ancestry or religion to live and go through here, as long as they weren't, you know, the armies, right?